the Business Storytelling Podcast with Christoph Trapp, available on Google, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, and other podcast channels. Want to play it on your iPhone? Just ask Siri to play the Christoph Trapp Business Storytelling Podcast, also available on Alexa. Here's Christoph with today's episode.
Hey, business storytellers, it's Christoph Trapp. Thanks for joining me. I got the two guests on the screen with me because it's just too much work to move two people around in the room. So here they are, Jim Fuchs and Chris Stone. Welcome back to the show. Really appreciate you guys joining me again.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Yeah. Thanks, Christoph. We appreciate it. And yeah, too much work. Let's keep work to a minimum and maximize the revenue on Amazon Live. And it's Jim Fuse, like a fuse box.
Fuse. Did I say that wrong?
Yes.
You said something. I wasn't sure what it was.
I'm not sure if you actually said a bad word and we might get pulled down from Amazon right now, Christoph.
I hope not. Jim, my apologies. You may call me Chris one time on the show. So there you go. There's the payback.
I've called him worse. Trust me.
Well, but Christoph, with that hat on, much with me is forgiven because, as you know, we have that mutual love for the Washington football team.
I'm also wearing, watch this, guys. Okay, here's the fashion show. I'm wearing the shirt. I'm wearing the shorts. I'm wearing the shorts. And I don't know if you can see this. I'm wearing the socks. I am not. I don't think you could see the socks, but and I tweeted at the president of the Washington football team earlier, and I said, "Why are these colors not matching?" Because they're not. So, but anyway, so I wore that today because, I wanted to. I didn't have any meetings, and then, we'll have the show with you guys, but you guys are casual, right? You guys won't judge me if I wear what I wear or show my pastry leg.
I just don't, unless I have to, I don't know that I ever want to wear a tie again. I don't miss those days.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? Do you miss ties?
I don't mind wearing a tie every so often. I've been working remotely for a number of years, but every once in a while, you put down your big boy clothes and show up in a conference room. I don't mind it, but I do like the casual gear. Of the football team now and sort of get that over with so we can start talking about how we make money with merch on Amazon or.
Get on with the show. Keep us on track, Chris. I'm glad I got you on the show.
I wasn't doing that on purpose. It's obviously hail to the Redskins, but I don't know if you've gone to any games. What do they sing now? Do they just not sing that? I mean, that was a huge tradition.
I don't think they've been singing. There were no fans.
There's no fans, right, at all.
Not even. Okay.
Nothing. So today we want to talk about merch. And what's interesting about merch, guys, I'm going to highlight it here in the bottom, and I'm going to show this to you quickly. Merch is basically you can create, and you guys can fill in the blanks here, because as you know, I'll probably get something wrong. Pop sockets, tote bags, throw pillows.
Yeah.
What else?
Tank tops. Look at that. Tank tops.
Hold on a second. You guys talk about it for a second. I want to show you something.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, Chris, we had no idea how much fun it would be to create this stuff. I mean, how many?
Yeah, and I think standard, T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts, sweatshirts, the hoodies and whatnot. Those are things that you could buy, and of course, the Going Live pillow, the Christoph Trapp pillow. What better way to accompany a couch or the top of your bed or wherever you use throw pillows than to have the Christoph Trapp go on their pillow, maybe a tote bag. Christoph, one of my things with Jim and when with Dealcasters is I always say that, people always say always be closing, right? If you're in sales, and I'm always be branding. I love sales and I love marketing, and I came from a marketing background, and I always am a proponent of always be branding. And when print on demand services it just became a thing, I was all over it. It didn't really matter that you only made pennies on the dollar if I didn't have to buy and warehouse T-shirts. And I was in bands for years, and we had so many medium T-shirts that we never would sell at that we would end up giving away to people or giving to Goodwill because we couldn't sell them. We had to warehouse them. So when print on demand became a thing, I was all over it. But what I was shocked about, Christoph, with Amazon merch is the percentage of the revenue share that is given to us from a designed product. A lot of these things like Printful and Vistaprint and TeePublic, there's a bunch of them. The revenue share is not very much. And of course, it's like, well, all you're doing is uploading a design and kind of like lining it up on a T-shirt or a mug or a phone case or a tote bag or whatever, and they're doing all of the other work. So you're just allowing them to use your design. So why would they pay you that much? But I was shocked at the revenue share that you get for Amazon merch. The royalty is anywhere from 15%, and on some items as high as 32%, I believe it was. If you kind of keep their suggested retail prices, you actually will see that kind of percentage of revenue share from the sale of your items on Amazon. So we get to make those things, get a little revenue share, and when we go live on Amazon, put it in our carousel, and we consider it more marketing cost really for us than anything. If we want to buy our own shirts and give them away as gifts or to people to help us kind of market, and for me it's like that still is cheaper than if I wanted to make a bunch of T-shirts.
Well, I mean, it is absolutely, and especially because it's just the ease, right? I mean, I'll give you an example. The no mask required. So here's, of course, the history, right? The CDC announces that you don't have to wear a mask anymore if you're fully vaccinated. Of course, the problem is that how do you know who's vaccinated and who isn't? Well, you don't. So I'm the nice guy I am. I thought I'd just create that T-shirt for everybody. You guys can wear that, and that's your license to not wear a mask anymore. There you go. Nice guy, right? Helpful.
Yeah.
But anyway, I created that in moments. I mean, it was so easy to create, and I can just show this to you guys quickly. I don't know how you guys do it, but I use Canva, right? And basically, it's right in here, and this is the design. And all you have to do is do the right size, which I'm not a designer, guys, but if I can figure out the right size of an image, which I literally just type in here, and then that's it, right? This is it. You can move things around. I did not draw the mask, in case you were wondering. I don't know, how did you guys do your design? Do you have a designer do it? Probably, right?
I have a designer named Chris Stone that does print work.
The guy on the right hand side of your screen is the designer. Yeah. We did that when we put together our show. We put it together in 2 hours. That was our limit. Like, if we're gonna do this, let's do this. Let's not let things like logos and so we just kind of came up for a vision of the show, and that was what we came up with in a couple of hours. And always be branding, and we want to put that logo everywhere, just like we want to put our link everywhere, so people will pop into Amazon and see our show, and hopefully we'll get that cookie and maybe a T-shirt or a tote bag while they're there.
So some of you might wonder, Christoph, what the heck does fully vaccinated have to do with your brand? And my answer is not much, but I wanted to try something new. And so right now, and I think you guys mentioned something before we came on air, there's like different levels, and I don't know what the levels are quite. You guys are the experts. I come to you guys to give me the official experts. I just kind of stumble across stuff. So I have 200, I can submit 200 products a day, which I don't think I'm going to hit anytime soon, quite frankly. I submitted 4 over the weekend. So one is this one, And then the other one is I created this live streamer shirt, which is also, I'm pretty sure I also put that down there in the carousel. And I just was kind of playing around. But now my point is of bringing this up. Now it's top of mind for me. Every time I do anything, is there another product I can create? Is there something I can put on? I guess you guys can't see the image. There it is. Every time I do anything, I want to make sure, is there something I can create, whether it's a tote bag or a pillow or a T-shirt or a sock poppet, whatever it's called, pop socket. I don't know what it's called.
Pop socket actually sounds like a new thing. This is great, Christoph. And this is like one of the things I've told you this before. I love one of the things I love about you and your mentality and your mindset is you shoot your shots. How many times have we? And you hear other people do this as well. Like, oh man, I wish I had thought of that because it just seems so easy. Why didn't I do it? You're doing it, like we talked about, Jim and I had talked about doing something like, well, what if we make like a Clubhouse t-shirt and just put that in our carousel? Because Clubhouse, well, now it's kind of going the other direction, right? But Clubhouse was just so hot for for those 3 or 4 months that we were like, well, why don't we just create something that is we won't get in trouble for, right? Because it's like you can't take something that's copyrighted and just put it on a t-shirt and expect that you won't get in trouble. But do something that's Clubhouse related. And just put it on a t-shirt and put it in our carousel and maybe market it a little bit and see what happens. And I think that's what you're doing here is sure, it may not have anything to do necessarily with your brand, but you get to create it, see if somebody will purchase it, and you get, a really good revenue share on a less than $20 t-shirt or item or sock poppet or whatever you want to create with it. So it's kind of cool to be able to just kind of play in that sandbox, see what works, throw it against the wall, see if something sticks. And if it does, like you're the one that took the shot, not somebody else, and you weren't wishing that you had. So I love the fact that you're doing this. I think it's smart.
Well, and it's actually allowing you to have your own merchandise on Amazon.com. And I think that's something that all of us as Amazon creators, right? That's the one, caveat catch right now is we can't always have our own stuff, but this allowed us to. And so I love how you're just, kind of just throwing some of this simple stuff out there. The vaccine one is actually a really good idea because I could have used it on Sunday when I walked into Costco and this guy's like, why don't you have your mask on? It's like, because I'm fully vaccinated and they said I don't have to wear it anymore. So if I had this shirt, I could have just said.
Sell here on Amazon and get one, and then you won't have that confrontation next time you go to Costco. Yeah, I think it's do things smart, and it's got my mind going in terms of like, what can we do? Because think about this. And Jim says this all the time whenever we're speaking at things like the number one search engine for products is Amazon. So if someone is searching for fully vaccinated, the chance of your t-shirt showing up when they search is greater than our chance, which is 0.0 because we haven't created one. So why not take a shot and maybe get that SEO in the biggest product search engine that there is.
So now it's top of mind, right? So now I can maybe potentially I can do two things really. First of all is I always create something that has something to do with the current news cycle, which be aware, dear brands, there's always a little bit of a danger, right? Because some people are not going to like my shirt, depending on what you're going to comment on. Or how serious the situation is for that matter. But now I can also think about what can I do for my own brand? Is it something about live streaming? I already did the one about live streaming, right? So that's another one I just created and I just put it about how do you do those things and how do you do them quickly and how do you get it out there? The other thing, Chris, you mentioned the search. So once you upload it, I want to show this to you guys. So basically, this is how you do it. You go to merch.amazon.com. You get your account set up. You have to get approved. Do you guys remember What are the rules to get approved? I did it so long ago. I don't.
You just got to enter your business information.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's necessarily something where they say, you
didn't have to have a website
it wasn't like being an associate or Amazon Live influencer where they're looking for your numbers, but you definitely need to put in your business information. So your LLC information, your tax information. And I think a lot of it has to do, Christoph, with there still are some states that don't allow for affiliate revenue. I want to say it's Missouri. I don't know. I think there's 4 states that don't allow it. So obviously, if your business is in any of those states, you're not going to be able to do it. And I know that there's a lot of legalities too about your business and you as an Amazon account owner are the only one that can go in. You can't share it. So like, if Jim set up our account for Dealcasters for Amazon merch, I can't go in. He can't share that with me. That's a violation. And if they see that that's happening, you could potentially be banned. So obviously that's a huge deal for us. We want to follow the rules and make sure that we're not doing that. But I know that's another thing too, because I think there are some larger brands that are like, well, I'll have my people do it. Well, you want to be careful there that you're not sharing things that you could get dinged on from Amazon.
And you do have to be, as I'm sure you've seen, Christoph, you do have to be a little careful. Like when you make these designs, it's like, hey, this is something that you have a right to. Like I can't go and create a shirt that says the David Letterman Show and think that I can sell it. So we do have to think about like potential copyright things. So I do have some ideas, and I'm going to run them by Chris, because I think, to your point with the news cycle, right? There's a lot of things that can be fun. And we've seen it past where people have made a ton of money off of just creating a T-shirt over, some random item that happened. So I think it's a good idea.
You definitely want to be careful. Absolutely. I mean, even what's his name? Kyler Murray, right? The Arizona Cardinals quarterback, when he had the Hail, what was it? What did they call it? Hail Mary? No, Kyle. They had some play on his name. I don't remember what it was, and he copyrighted that phrase. So I could not sell a T-shirt with that phrase, or they wouldn't come after me right after I do it.
It was a Hail Murray.
Hail Murray. There you go. That's it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Hail Murray. So so you want to be careful, but think about what your business is doing. Think about different things. I mean, it could be as simple as somebody has a good quote on the show, or you say a good quote, right? Make a T-shirt out of your quotes. I mean, There's 100 different things that you can do, and you can do them quickly, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think it's not something that I don't expect that this is going to make huge amounts of incremental revenue for us. I mean, is it another revenue stream? Yes, a very small one for us. Really, the reason why we did it is, why not? I'm a big fan of making money while I sleep. If I'm going to upload a logo and somebody's going to buy a hat, a T-shirt that somebody else is doing all of the work for, and I make a little bit, totally happy with that. But I love the fact that we can buy our own shirts from this and use them as, tchotchkes, gifts, and not feel like we're having to warehouse all of this stuff too. So it's worth it from that perspective, especially, like I said, having a history of, big, huge boxes and going and renting a storage space to hold all of the merchandise for bands and for all of that stuff. Like print on demand, where you can make this kind of revenue is worth every single penny. Where you're not doing any work really. And if you are an Amazon Live content creator, popping it in the carousel has given us, that incremental revenue that, we would not have had if it wasn't for this. So it's kind of it falls under the no-brainer category. If you're someone that has a brand, like you said, Christoph, think of like the phrases that you use on your show. Even if you don't necessarily have like a cool logo yet, think of something that you could, because you're going to eventually have these fans and they're going to want to give back, whether it's buy me a coffee or Patreon or things like that. Why not have them buy a t-shirt or a tote bag or a sock poppet? I'm never going to say it the right way anymore from now on. I like it better.
You like sock puppets? Is that what you're saying?
That's how I roll. I'm here to confuse the world.
I love
welcome to the Christoph Trapp Show. So, it's interesting too what you just said. So another idea. I mean, there's all kinds of things people say. Hey, you're on mute. You could have a picture. You're on mute like this, right? This is the picture, and then it says you're on mute, or whatever. Like, can you hear me? My internet is down. Or totally. I had a live stream yesterday where I actually literally lost the guest. Like, she literally had to leave and then come back. That's how bad I don't know what the word was in the pipeline, but she had to leave and come back for it to work. And I could take the screenshot of the audio file, for the podcast, and you can publish that and be like, whoops, totally inside baseball, right? But podcasters might find it interesting. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming out loud.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Maybe that's trademark, because that used to be the Verizon Sprint guy. But
and I'm gonna give you an idea, Christoph, and Chris will probably beat me later. So you could have your the name of your podcast on the front, and on the back it could be like the world tour, and you could have a list of all your guest names on the back with the date
or a map.
Yes.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
That's actually not a bad idea, Jim. That's actually not a bad idea. I will not beat you later for that. Almost like a concert t-shirt that you would get on an artist tour, except it would be the list of all your guests. That would be a really long list for you, Christoph, because I know you've been. How long have you had the Business Storytelling Podcast? How many years have you been going?
2 years, I think. I think I launched in May 2019, so about 2 years, and I'm at episode about 375 roughly.
Jeez.
Yeah, so you might have to come up with you could call it season. It could be made up it could be season 1, season 2, just so you could get or Hall of Fame guests.
List the best 50. I don't know if we would make the list. We wouldn't hold it against you because I know you've had some great guests. But I mean, 375 episodes. You probably. I mean, you haven't had a guest for every single one of them, right? Or
most of them. Early on, I did some by myself, but now I do very few by myself. Just because it's much better when there's a guest, right?
Yeah,
everybody has some knowledge.
What?
Right.
You get to talk to someone. It's actually, nice to have a conversation.
That too. That is actually a very nice thing. But if you have a season, so I don't do seasons, but I know a lot of I don't do seasons because I do live. So what some podcasters do, they record, I think Neil Schaefer does this. He records 2 weeks or 1 week out of the quarter, and that's it. That's you got to get in that spot, to be on the next season, and then he is done until the next season. So if you do that, you could literally publish. We lost Jim. Hopefully he'll be back. Let's see if I can figure out how to change. He might be enjoying the green room, Chris.
We'll see if it was great back there. You got really good cookies, and the M&Ms were nice touch.
He is still not back, but we'll bring him back on once I see him back on here. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people will do that. They'll record. They'll treat. They'll knock out as many sessions as possible. So if you want to be a guest on that particular person's, but yeah, I think you, it's different because when you go live. That's your session. And so, and then I think, however many weeks later, thing as well, because we launched our podcast, our audio version of podcasts. Of course, you're going to be one. And of course, the episode that you were on Dealcasters was however long ago, but that's something that's going to come out weeks from now, is obviously still relevant. But yeah, I mean, we treat our Amazon Lives as a recording session when we're having interviews with people like you, because it's just another way to repurpose the content, like you're doing as well. I think it's smart to do it like that. But I guess in the way of like Neal Schaffer, and I know other people do the same thing. It's like, okay, this all interviews, and then like whoever's handling the podcast, they're just working on editing it and all of the other stuff and scheduling, and he doesn't have to worry about it.
Exactly. And I'm actually highlighting Dealcasters on Amazon Music. This is another thing, guys. If you have I actually had a guest the other day and I said, I can't find your show on Amazon Music. Here's how you get on there. Do it now. And his team is now working on it, or was working on it. But again, another reason why you want to be on all the platforms. So right. If I have seasons, though, I could actually just publish the T-shirt with season 2 coming up, drops whatever date, and then depending how fancy I want to get, I could even send T-shirts to some of the guests. I don't know, that can get kind of pricey, but it could be an idea, it's another marketing tool.
Right. So yeah, that's what we do. And so when you make that purchase and say it's a $19 shirt, well, you're getting a revenue share back after the purchase, right? So it's not $19; it'll be like whatever, 15% off basically is what you get on a T-shirt when you do that. But it can get expensive. If you're doing 300 T-shirts print on demand, you may want to get those printed up, but then you got to worry about sizes and colors and all of those things. That's the great thing about print on demand, right? You could say, I want to make the option for pink and purple and black and white and, whatever color works with your logo. And then someone goes and chooses the exact size, the exact color that they want. Print on demand is just so smart to be able to do. And thank you for highlighting Dealcasters. Yeah. And it's, that's one of the challenges, right? Is finding stuff on Amazon right now. Because how many times have you said, hey, I'm live on Amazon, and they'll say, well, how do I get to your show? Where do I go? And you can't really say, well, go to amazon.com/shop/ctrap. And is anybody going to remember that? You can send them a link, but it's a lot easier just kind of doing a redirect and telling them to go to, ctrap.live or ctrap.shop or, something that's going to be easier to say in a Clubhouse room or easier to say in a Twitter Spaces. Have you done any Twitter Spaces by chance yet?
Yeah, I have, but it's just not something I focused on too much, right? Because it's so much extra work. Like, I mean, think about what we're doing here. We're live on Amazon, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. And it's like, whether we go to one channel or 5, there's no difference, right? Twitter Spaces, and then you have to wait for people to show up, which you also have to do on Amazon Lives to an extent for people to show up. But I'm waiting on 5 channels as opposed to 1. And the other thing is people come in and out, right? You and I are just talking, and so on Twitter Spaces, and then sometimes the conversation is all over the place. So I'm just not a huge fan currently, but who knows? When you guys were on the show in November, I'm not sure I was sold on Amazon Live. So, we
won't sell you on Twitter Spaces like we sold you on Amazon. It's not that I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think to your point, if you're not careful, whether it's Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse, they can really rob you of your time. And so you really have to set yourself some limitations, because it is kind of a wild west of people coming in and out and people talking. And if you're someone that wants to help people, you just have to set a limit and say, we're ending the room at such and such a time. Next time we go on will be now. So make sure, you join us then. Otherwise, and Jim and I have been on and not set that parameter and talking about Amazon Live, and we've been on for just too long, and it sets you back big time. So it's something that you can use effectively, but really you got to set your limitations for sure.
Jim, was it something I said?
No, I think it's the haunted camera that I have. Every once in a while, it decides to have a life of its own, and I had to reboot twice to get it to finally decide that it wanted to let me come back on camera.
Well, we're glad you're back. And the other thing, guys, is that what's interesting, everybody listening, is you want to learn from each other. So, for example, my background, right? So, I mean, Jim was kind of one of the inspirations for that, right? I mean, I got a backdrop behind me now. It looks much better than what was back there before. And I was playing with the idea of just getting, a wall like you have. And then I thought, then I can't be on the same show with Jim because they think we're in the same room or something. But
actually, that's become a thing where people sometimes try to have the same backgrounds. Now, sometimes they're doing it with virtual, but I think you saw what Chris and I thought as far as the whole virtual background thing. I like what you've done with your new office. Yeah, looks good.
I love it, and there's all kinds of other options that you can buy too. Every once in a while, I got to close the window when I go live because if there's a breeze, like it moves a little bit. So people are like, "Why is your background moving?" But it just looks not right because it doesn't, like, your hands are not like glittery, like like fidgety or whatever. How it does look on Zoom. I do have that in the care, so I'm going to highlight that for a minute. It's only like $23.
Yeah. Is it something you put up on a bars with clips, or is it one that kind of rolls down behind you?
So it is on a bar because I'm actually in the middle of my office, right, as opposed to in front of the wall. I could have honestly flipped this way and put it behind me on the wall and like even put nails in there or something, But I don't want to do that mostly because the actual window, not the fake ones, the actual window is that way. And I really enjoy looking out. I really like the light. So had I flipped this way, then it's to the side and I'm looking at another wall. So that's why I did that. But I think it just looks nice, and it doesn't look so fake. Now, really quickly, guys, as you guys all know, we do live stream with switcherstudio.com. Trap 1 month off on your iPad. Still a big fan of that software. Do you guys like it on the back end as the guest?
Yeah. I think it's nice. Yeah, it works really easy. I mean, I had thought about it before, but then I ended up. I won't say anything since you're talking about Switcher, but I use different but I do like it. I like the fact because I'm a very Apple centric that you have a lot of options with bringing in your other Apple devices. I think it's a nice program. And I know Shane Shaps, I was on her show. She also uses Switcher.
And I like the look here. What people who are watching right now aren't seeing what I'm seeing, but on a lot of other streaming services where you're multi-streaming, like Christoph's doing right now, you'll have basically what you see is in the show. So you'll see what's happening, and maybe you'll see something backstage. But this is a view where I can see. I have a view of myself. I have a view of Jim. I have a view of what in terms of a screen share, and then I have another view. It's kind of blocking out another view of what is in the show, which is kind of all you need when you're a guest on a show. How does things look on? But although maybe I want a bigger view of Christoph or of Jim, and not necessarily important to have me as a bigger view, so I can engage more with the guests. So I think the experience from a guest perspective, Christoph, is really good actually.
And I don't know if you can tell that I'm sharing that, but I'm sharing how it looks on the back end, right here. So you can see yourself and you can see what's actually live. So it is kind of nice. So I want to share really quickly how it looks, and if you guys have any tips there, let me know. But basically, the way it works, right here, you just log in and you really just submit products, right? You go in, you click your product, whatever you want to do. I'm not a big fan of the standard T-shirt, quite frankly, but the premium T-shirt, V-neck, I don't even know what the V-neck looks like. That is this one. So you're not going to see me wearing that either. But the other ones, they do look nice. And then you can actually do multiple countries.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is that you have to do separate entries in that country's language so UDE relatively simply. And of course, UK is just English, but I don't speak Spanish, I don't speak Italian, I don't speak French. So even if I use Google Translate, but then all you do is you go in here and you upload your image. I don't know if that's the right one or not. No, it's not, right? So once you download it from Canva, I use Canva to create all my images. You download that with transparent background, and then you submit it. Easy breezy. Couldn't be much easier.
Right? Yeah, it is very easy once you figure out what you want your design to be. I think I was surprised how easy it was. I think the biggest challenge is like we're coming up with some new designs because I figured out, and Canva was the way I'm doing it, how to make this logo smaller. Because if you look at our current shirts, it takes up the whole thing, and we want to do kind of a front and back thing. And so now I think Canva is going to let us do that.
I think you got some super fans in the chat.
I don't know what's playing in the background. That is
neither do I. I can hear it as well. Yeah.
Actually, I know what's playing, but I don't know why it is playing.
That's the fun of live streaming.
Now I know what it is. It's so weird. I don't know why.
You have some gremlins there. Got into the back end.
No, what happens is there's just too much going on, and I'm just doing too many things, with too many devices and everything, and that's sometimes
the only downside of being Christoph Trapp is you too many things, and all of a sudden you're going to get some audio. But it's always good to have another ghost or guest for a show that you didn't know was happening. Was that picture of your family, Christoph?
It was, yeah. Oh, yeah, because you can see the second screen, right, as the camera.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So you guys on the audience, you can't see that. So awesome. Great overview. Merch.amazon.com. I would highly recommend you take a look. If you're fully vaccinated, consider getting my tank top or my t-shirt. I'm planning on wearing it all this summer. Seriously, because that's my passport. Yeah. And I'm going to keep thinking about what else I'm going to do. I might get the Dealcasters shirt. I didn't see my size. I think it only went to XX, but I'll have to look again. Or it's time to lose some weight. Guys,
so I thought you were extra medium. That's not your size.
No, that's the extra muscle shirt. Okay. But I'm not. That's not going to work for me right now. So. Guys, it was great to have you on the show again. Thanks for making the time. Dealcasters, these guys go live all the time. Check them out. What is it again? Dealcasters.live or something like that.
That's it. That's simple. Bingo. Dealcasters.live. And we have a deal going right now. If anybody wants a .live, you can get it for $1.99. And so if you're a content creator, if you're an Amazon Live content creator, and they give you this big, huge URL that looks like hieroglyphics, and you want to redirect and you want it for your show.live, you just go to name.com/live, and the promo code GetLive allows you to get a .live for yourself for your show for $1.99. So there you go.
And then there it is. How about that? Live
look at
production,
that branding right on the fly. Love it.
Dealcasters.live. So, and then basically you just redirect. Right, yes. The long URL. You redirect this one to the long URL that Amazon gives you.
Exactly. And our shop page. We also bought Dealcasters.shop, and so we'll redirect people to our shop page on Amazon, because the Amazon takes your. So when you submitted for Amazon Live, it may have been your Twitter, which was C-Trap, I believe, and if you wanted, and so maybe that wasn't the show you wanted to, the name of your shop page, the URL that you wanted. So we just bought Dealcasters.shop as well, and we just redirected it there.
So my Amazon shop is actually /Christoph Trapp, which I only Instagram, which I guess maybe I submitted with Instagram, but that's the only place I use that. So interesting. Well, anyway, neither here nor there. Always learn something new from you guys. And merch.amazon.com. I hope everyone checks it out. Yeah. Canva. Jim, did you say that when I lost you and I was listening to another podcast while we were live on the air? Is that Canva? You use Canva as well?
Canva definitely will work. That's the thing I just did, because they give you a lot of stuff in the merch website about, you can download this Adobe templates, but you can make it simpler than that. Just go to Canva and they tell you what size the transparent file needs to be, and just it's that simple. I mean, so simple. You and I can do it, Christoph. We're not the designers that Chris is, but so there's hope.
I am not a designer, and that's honestly why it's just amazing. I actually had a designer say to me, who created your book cover? It looks really good. And I said, oh, thank you. I did in Canva, so
there you go.
Very interesting how much easier those things have become over the years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I see people are still trickling in. However, we do have to wrap it up because we all have meetings and I don't have any meetings, but I have work to do. Thank you guys again for joining. What?
More shirts
to make. I just got to think about what. But I'm sure there's, you just got to, once it's top of mind, that's how you do it. Guys, good seeing you again. And until next time, I'm sure I'll probably ask you to come back one of these days. Who knows what's coming out next? Amazon Live in VR, huh? How about it?
Hey, love it. Christoph, thanks so much for allowing us to have to be on. We'll come on anytime you allow us to.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, guys. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. Until next time.
Tuning in to today's episode of the Business Storytelling Podcast. Please rate, review, and recommend our show to your friends and coworkers. Until next time.